Have you ever wondered how closely our thoughts are connected to our physical health? It's a question that many of us may not consider on a daily basis, but it's one that holds more significance than we might initially think. Our minds and bodies are not separate entities, but rather, they are intricately intertwined, communicating and interacting with each other in ways that can profoundly influence our overall health. This fascinating interplay is often referred to as the mind-body connection, a concept that has been explored and studied in various fields, from psychology to neuroscience, and even in the realms of holistic and alternative medicine. It's a concept that suggests that our mental and emotional states can have a tangible impact on our physical well-being. But how does this connection work? How do our thoughts, those ethereal and intangible aspects of our consciousness, translate into physical symptoms and conditions? Well, this is where the intriguing world of thought patterns comes into play. Thought patterns are essentially the habitual ways in which our minds process and respond to information. They're like the mental pathways that we've carved out over time, guiding our thoughts and shaping our perspectives. These patterns can be positive, fostering resilience and optimism, or they can be negative, breeding fear, guilt, anger, and other harmful emotions. And it's these negative thought patterns that we'll be delving into in this video. We'll explore how fear is an illusion and can disrupt our normal bodily functions and lead to conditions like hair loss and ulcers. We'll look at how self-criticism and criticism of others can manifest physically as arthritis. We'll discuss the toxic effects of resentment and how it can contribute to the development of cancer. We'll delve into the physical burden of guilt and how it can result in physical pain. We'll also examine how the volatile combination of anger and guilt can lead to accidents. And finally, we'll take a closer look at the impact of suppressed emotions and how they can also contribute to cancer. So, prepare to embark on a journey into the complex interplay between our minds and bodies. As we unravel the mysteries of our thought patterns and their physical manifestations, we hope to provide a deeper understanding of the powerful influence our minds wield over our bodies. Let's dive into the fascinating world of our mind and body and how they interact. Fear, a powerful emotion, can disrupt our normal bodily functions in surprising ways. When fear takes hold, it can lead to physical manifestations that are as varied as they are concerning. For instance, have you ever considered that fear can lead to baldness? It's true. Stress, a byproduct of fear, can disrupt the normal hair growth cycle, leading to hair loss. But it doesn't stop there. Fear can also wreak havoc on our digestive system, resulting in ulcers. Anxiety, a close relative of fear, can take a toll on our stomach lining and cause painful sores. Perhaps most alarming is the connection between prolonged fear and colon health. Chronic stress, often exacerbated by fear, can lead to colon problems. The story of John, a man who experienced all these symptoms due to prolonged fear, serves as a sobering reminder of fear's physical impacts. The power of fear is immense, but understanding how it affects our bodies can help us manage it better. Harboring critical thoughts can manifest physically, often in ways we might not expect. Let's delve into how this unfolds. When we're constantly critical of ourselves or others, it's like a corrosive acid wearing away at us from the inside. Over time, this can actually lead to physical ailments such as arthritis. Yes, you heard that right. Arthritis, the joint pain and inflammation often associated with aging, can be a physical manifestation of critical thought patterns. It's as if our inflexible thoughts and attitudes are being reflected in our very bodies. Let's consider a case study. Meet Jane, a middle-aged woman who developed arthritis after years of being overly critical of herself and others. Jane's story is a stark reminder that our mental state is not isolated from our physical health. It's a clear demonstration of how our thoughts can take a toll on our bodies. Holding on to resentment is like holding on to a toxin that can poison our system. This isn't just a metaphor. Resentment, that bitter, long-held grudge, can have serious physical implications. One of the most alarming is the potential link to the development of cancer. The disease, much like resentment itself, can grow silently and unnoticed within us. Picture a person, let's call her Jane, who for years held on to a deep resentment towards a family member. Over time, this bitterness started to take a toll. Jane was diagnosed with cancer, a physical manifestation of the silent anger she had been nursing. It's a chilling reminder of how our mental state can influence our physical health. Resentment, like a silent disease, can eat us from within if we let it. To maintain our health, it's critical to let go of resentment, to forgive and move forward, for the sake of not just our mental but also our physical well-being. Guilt, a heavy burden, can manifest as physical pain. This emotional weight we carry can be so intense that it begins to take a physical toll on our bodies. Imagine you've done something you deeply regret. This regret transforms into guilt, a heavy, nagging feeling that constantly gnaws at your consciousness. As time passes, this guilt doesn't just weigh on your mind, but it begins to weigh on your body as well. Perhaps it starts as a dull ache in your shoulders, or a persistent headache that just won't go away. It might even escalate to more severe physical discomfort like stomach problems or chronic pain. Let's take, for instance, John, who grappled with intense guilt after a major mistake at work. This guilt slowly started to manifest as persistent migraines and back pain, a physical reflection of the emotional pain he was experiencing. Guilt, when not addressed, can have dire consequences on our physical health. Anger and guilt, when mixed together, can lead to a loss of control that increases the risk of accidents. Let's delve into this complex concept. Anger, a powerful and primal emotion, can surge through us like a fiery storm, clouding our judgment and escalating our reactions. Guilt, on the other hand, is a weighty, remorseful feeling that can make us question our worth and our actions. When these two emotional giants collide, the result can be a mental maelstrom that shakes the very foundation of our stability. Now imagine having to navigate through life in the throes of this emotional turmoil. It's like trying to steer a ship through a tempest with a broken compass. The internal conflict becomes so overwhelming that the storm within starts to wreak havoc in the physical world. This is where the increased risk of accidents comes in. Consider the case of Jane. She's an individual who experienced frequent accidents due to this volatile mix of anger and guilt. Jane was always a high achiever, but she was also her own harshest critic. When she made a mistake at work, she was consumed by guilt and self-reproach. This guilt then morphed into anger, directed both inwardly and outwardly. As Jane's inner turmoil escalated, so did her accidents. She started tripping over nothing, knocking things over, and even getting into minor car accidents. It was as though her internal chaos was seeping out and manifesting in her external environment. What Jane's story highlights is the profound impact our emotional state can have on our physical well-being. When our minds are in turmoil, it can become challenging to maintain control over our actions, increasing the likelihood of accidents. This is a stark reminder of the need to manage emotions like anger and guilt effectively. By doing so, we can prevent these feelings from spiraling out of control and causing physical harm. The internal conflict that anger and guilt create can spill out into our physical world in ways we might never expect. So, next time you find yourself wrestling with these emotions, remember Jane's story and take a moment to regain your balance. It might just save you from an unnecessary accident. When we suppress our emotions, we're not just hiding them from the world, we're also creating an internal pressure cooker. This pressure cooker is a volatile space where unexpressed feelings simmer and stew, building up over time until they reach a boiling point. In the realm of our bodies, these suppressed emotions can wreak havoc. They can contribute to the development of one of the most feared and insidious diseases of our time: cancer. This might seem like a bold claim, yet a growing body of research supports this connection. Let's consider the case of John. He was a man who believed that showing emotions was a sign of weakness. He bottled up his feelings, hiding his pain, anger, and sadness from the world. For years, he wore a mask of stoicism, never letting anyone see the turmoil brewing within him. Unfortunately, his body paid the price for his unexpressed emotions. After years of suppressing his feelings, John was diagnosed with cancer. His doctors were baffled as he had no apparent risk factors. He didn't smoke, he ate healthily, and he exercised regularly. Yet here he was, grappling with the terrifying reality of a cancer diagnosis. In retrospect, his emotional suppression was a silent, unseen risk factor. His unexpressed feelings, the pressure cooker within him, had manifested physically as cancer. John's story is not unique. Many people around the world suppress their emotions, concealing their true feelings under a facade of indifference or strength. But our bodies are not designed to carry such a heavy emotional burden. Over time, the pressure builds, and if we don't find a healthy outlet for our emotions, they may manifest as physical illness. So, what can we learn from John's story? It's simple, yet profound. Expressing our emotions is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness. It's a vital part of maintaining our physical health and well-being. In conclusion, thought patterns and negative emotions can make all the physical dis-ease and symptoms in the body as a reflection of unalignment of the mind, body, and souls. We should also realize that the expression of emotion is vital for our physical health, and suppressing them can have serious health implications. So let's avoid emotions such as fear, anger, guilt, resentment, and let's not bottle up our feelings. Let's express them, embrace them, and let them flow. It's not just good for our mental health, it's essential for our physical health too.